Sophia threw me across the table. You're not going. This is for the key people. Her cold gaze cut like a knife. I created this company, and she's cutting me out? At that moment, I decided she would pay. Not with a scream, not with tears, with my code. The restaurant buzzed with the clink of glasses and the low hum of conversation. Candlelight flickered across polished tables, casting a warm glow over the scene. I sat across from Sophia, my wife, her silhouette sharp against the city skyline beyond the window. She was flawless as always, dark hair swept into a sleek updo, diamond earrings catching the light. But her eyes, those piercing green eyes, held something I couldn't place. Something cold. Artem, she said, her voice smooth as she swirled her wine. You're not coming on the trip tomorrow. It's for key players only. The words hit like a punch I didn't see coming. The chatter around us faded, the world narrowing to her face, her words. I built this company. My code, my algorithm, my sleepless nights, they were the heartbeat of our empire. And now she was cutting me out? You're serious? My voice was low, barely masking the storm brewing inside. I leaned forward, searching her face for a crack, a hint of a joke. There was none. Sophia sighed, her lips curving into a faint, patronizing smile. It's business, Artem. Investors want a clear leader. Your role is critical, but not for this. My role? I wasn't a role. I was the one who coded the AI that made us billions, the one who turned her failing startup into a global force. She was the voice, the charm, the one who sold my vision to the world. And now she looked at me like I was an intern who'd overstayed his welcome. Sophia, I said, my jaw tight, I created this. Every line of code, every breakthrough. You're telling me I'm not key. She didn't flinch. Her gaze held mine, steady, unyielding. Don't make this personal. You're still part of the team, just not on this stage. The air felt thick, heavy with the weight of her words. Around us, waiters glided with trays, guests laughed, oblivious to the fracture happening at our table. I clenched my fists under the table, nails digging into my palms. This wasn't just about a trip. This was a declaration. She was erasing me, not just from the company, but from our shared dream. I forced a slow breath, steadying the rage threatening to spill over. You're making a mistake, I said, my voice calm but edged with steel. You need me. Her smile sharpened, a blade disguised as pity. You're good at what you do, Artem. Stay in your lane. The words cut deeper than I expected. Stay in my lane? I'd given her everything. My ideas, my work, my trust. I'd loved her, believed in her, built this empire with her. And now she was dismantling it, piece by piece, with that same calculated grace she used in boardrooms. I stood, chair scraping against the floor. Heads turned, but I didn't care. You'll regret this, I said, locking eyes with her one last time. Sophia raised an eyebrow, unfazed. Don't be dramatic. I turned and walked out, the restaurant's warmth fading behind me as the cold night air hit my face. My pulse pounded in my ears, each step fueling a clarity I hadn't felt in years. She thought she could erase me. She thought she held all the power. But she'd forgotten one thing. I built the system she stood on, and I could tear it down. As I reached my car, my phone buzzed. A text from Roman, my oldest friend. Asterisk heard what happened. Call me. You're not alone. Asterisk. I stared at the screen, a flicker of warmth cutting through the ice in my chest. Roman had always been there, the one who saw through Sophia's charm when I was too blind. I didn't call him yet. I needed to think, to plan, but his words anchored me, a reminder that I wasn't as isolated as she wanted me to feel. Sophia had drawn the line. Now was my move. The city's pulse thrummed outside my old apartment, a faint neon glow seeping through the cracked blinds. Inside, it was just me, the hum of my laptop, and the ghost of a dream I'd built with Sophia. The place smelled of dust and stale coffee, a relic of the days when our startup was just an idea, coded line by line in this very room. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, the screen's blue light casting shadows across my face. Sophia thought she'd won. She thought she could erase me. She was wrong. Her word from the restaurant still burned. Stay in your lane. My lane? I was the lane, the one who wrote the AI that turned her failing pitch into a billion-dollar empire. And now she'd locked me out of my own creation. But I'd left something behind, a failsafe buried deep in the system. A backdoor. My key to taking it all back. I logged into the private server, my heart pounding. The interface blinked to life, familiar as a second home. This was my domain, untouched by Sophia's glossy empire. The code was still mine, every algorithm, every subroutine. I'd built a kill switch years ago, a precaution when I still trusted her, when I thought we were partners. It was hidden, a ghost in the machine, undetectable to anyone but me. Tonight, it would wake up. Asterisk, she stole my dream. I'll steal it back. Asterisk, the thought anchored me as I typed, fingers flying. One command, and Sophia's access to the core servers vanished. Another, and her executive team was locked out. The system would keep running, clients wouldn't notice yet, but she'd wake up to a company she couldn't control. The timer was ticking. By morning, she'd know. My phone buzzed, shattering the silence. Roman's name flashed on the screen. I hesitated, then answered. Artem, what the hell's going on? His voice was sharp, urgent. I heard Sophia is cutting you out. You okay? I leaned back, the chair creaking under me. She thinks she can erase me, Roman. She's wrong. A pause, then a low chuckle. That's my boy. What's the plan? I glanced at the screen, where the system confirmed the lockout. I just took her keys. She'll notice soon. Roman whistled. You're playing with fire. But you built that company, not her. Don't let her make you forget that. His words hit harder than I expected. Roman hadn't known me since we were kids, back when I was the nerd with big dreams and no money. He'd seen me pour my soul into this company, seen Sophia's charm pull me in. He'd warned me, too, but I hadn't listened. Now he was the lifeline I didn't know I needed. Thanks, I said, my voice quieter. I'm not done yet. You better not be, he shot back. Call me when you need me. You're not alone in this. I hung up, his words lingering like a shield against the doubt creeping in. What if I was going too far? What if I burned it all down, my work, my legacy? I pushed the thought away. Sophia didn't just betray me. She stole my place in the world I'd built. This wasn't revenge. This was justice. The laptop pinged. The lockout was complete. I leaned forward, running a diagnostic. The system was mine again, every server answering to me alone. Sophia's empire was a house of cards, and I just pulled the first one. But I wasn't stopping there. I opened a new file, sketching the outline of something new, a platform to outshine everything we'd built. Nova Spark, my vision, my rules. A memory flashed. Sophia and me, years ago, hunched over the same laptop, laughing as we debugged code at 3 a.m. She believed in me then, or so I thought. Now, that moment felt like a lie, a prelude to her knife in my back. I shook it off. No time for nostalgia. My phone buzzed again, a text from an old colleague, Lena, one of the engineers I trained. Asterisk, heard what happened. Sophia is telling everyone you're stepping back. What's really going on? Asterisk. I stared at the message, anger flaring. Stepping back? Sophia was rewriting history, painting me as the one who walked away. I typed back. Asterisk, she's lying. I'm still here. Spread the word. Asterisk. Lena's reply came fast. Asterisk, got it. We're with you. Asterisk. A spark of hope flickered. Not everyone had bought Sophia's story. There were still people who knew the truth, who'd seen me build the system from nothing. I wasn't as alone as she wanted me to believe. The clock read 2:17 a.m. My eyes burned, but I kept working, laying the groundwork for Nova Spark. Sophia would wake up to chaos, but I'd be ready for her next move. She'd come for me, angry, desperate, or both. And when she did, I'd be one step ahead. I closed the laptop, the room falling silent. Outside, the city hummed, oblivious to the war I'd just started. Sophia thought she'd broken me. She had no idea what I was capable of. Dawn broke over the city, painting the sky in streaks of orange and gray. I hadn't slept. My apartment was a fortress of silence, the laptop still warm from hours of work. The lockout was in place. Sophia's empire was paralyzed, her access severed like a cut artery. My phone sat silent, but I knew it wouldn't stay that way. She'd come for me, and when she did, I'd be ready. The clock ticked past 7 a.m. when the intercom buzzed, sharp and insistent. I didn't need to check the camera to know it was her. I let it ring twice, savoring the moment, then pressed the button. Come up. The door slammed, open minutes later. Sophia stormed in, her usual polish fraying at the edges, hair slightly askew, eyes blazing with a mix of fury and panic. She was still in her power suit, but the confidence it usually carried was gone. She looked like a queen whose throne was crumbling. What did you do? she snapped, voice cutting through the quiet. The system's locked. The board can't access anything. Clients are calling. Fix it. Now. I leaned against the counter, arms crossed, meeting her glare with calm. Good morning, Sophia. Sleep well. Don't play games, she hissed, stepping closer. You sabotaged the company. My company. My company. The word stung, but I didn't flinch. Your company? I said, voice low. I built it. Every line of code. Every algorithm. You sold my work, took the credit, and now you're surprised I took it back. Her jaw tightened, a flicker of something, guilt, maybe crossing her face before she buried it. This isn't about credit. This is about survival. If you don't unlock the system, we lose everything. I stepped forward, closing the distance. There's no we anymore. You made that clear when you told me to stay in my lane. She froze, her breath catching. For a moment, the room was still, the weight of our shared history hanging between us. I saw it in her eyes, the memory of late nights, shared dreams, the partnership we'd sworn to protect. But it was gone, replaced by her ambition, her betrayal. Artem, she said, softer now, trying new angle. I made a mistake. I got caught up in the optics, the investors. But we can fix this. Together. I laughed, sharp and bitter. Fix it? You didn't make a mistake, Sophia. You made a choice. You erased me from the company I built from our life. And now you think you can charm your way out. Her eyes narrowed, the softness vanishing. You're being childish. If you destroy the company, you destroy yourself too. Your name's still tied to it. My name. I shook my head, a cold smile tugging at my lips. You buried my name years ago. The press, the board, the world, they think you're the genius. But they'll learn the truth soon enough. She paled, just for a second, but it was enough. She knew I wasn't bluffing. What do you want? She asked, voice tight. A bigger role? More shares? Name it. I held her gaze, letting the silence stretch. I want you to admit it. Right now. Say I built this company. Say you stole it. Say you betrayed me. Her lips parted, but no words came. The air crackled with tension, her pride warring with her desperation. Finally, she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. You're pathetic, Artem, clinging to credit when the company's burning. The words hit like a slap, but they only fueled me. Pathetic, I said, stepping closer until we were inches apart. I'm the one holding the keys. You're the one begging. So here's my offer. Admit the truth, publicly, or watch your empire collapse by noon. Her eyes widened, panic breaking through her mask. You wouldn't. You'd lose everything too. Try me, I said, voice like steel. You've got until midday. Then I pulled the plug for good. She stared at me, searching for a bluff that wasn't there. Then, without a word, she turned and stormed out, the door slamming behind her. The silence that followed was deafening, but it felt like victory. My phone buzzed, Roman. I answered, still buzzing from the confrontation. She was here, wasn't she? He said, not missing a beat. What happened? I gave her a choice, I said, pacing. Admit the truth or lose everything. Roman let out a low whistle. You're not messing around. What's next? I glanced at the laptop, where the NovaSpark framework waited, half-built, but already sharper than anything Sophia's company could dream of. I'm not waiting for her answer. I'm building something new, and I need the old team. Lena, the others. Can you reach out? On it, Roman said, his voice steady. You're doing the right thing, Artem. She underestimated you. They all did. I hung up, his words grounding me. Sophia thought she could outmaneuver me, but she'd forgotten who I was. I sat back at the laptop, pulling up the NovaSpark code. Lines flowed under my fingers, each one a step toward a future she couldn't touch. But doubt crept in. What if she called my bluff? What if I was burning my own legacy? Another buzz. A text from Lena. Asterisk talked to the team. We're in. Screw Sophia. Asterisk, a grin spread across my face. The tide was turning. Sophia's empire was cracking. I was already building something better. The clock read 9:43 a.m. 2 hours until my deadline. Sophia would fight. She always did. But this time I was ready. The city hummed below my apartment, its rhythm unbroken by the chaos I'd unleashed. It was 11:47 a.m., 13 minutes to noon. My ultimatum hung over Sophia like a guillotine, but I wasn't waiting for her to decide. My laptop glowed with the framework of NovaSpark, lines of code weaving a new future. Sophia's empire was crumbling, and I was already building on its ashes. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing. Texts from Lena, updates from Roman, whispers from old colleagues. The news was spreading. Sophia's company was in free fall. Clients couldn't access the system. Investors were pulling out, and the stock had plummeted 20% since dawn. I'd locked her out, and the world was starting to see the cracks in her carefully crafted myth. A sharp knock rattled the door. I didn't move, letting the sound linger. Another knock, harder. I stood, steadying my breath, and opened it. Sophia stood there, no longer the untouchable queen. Her eyes were red-rimmed, her suit creased, her composure shattered. She looked like she'd aged a decade since our last fight. "Artem," she said, voice hoarse. "We need to talk." I leaned against the doorframe, blocking her way. "You're cutting it close. 10 minutes left." She flinched, her hands clenching. "You don't get it. The company's dying. Billions are at stake. You're killing everything we built." I stepped forward, voice cold. "You stopped being we when you erased me. You took my work, my name, my life. And now you're begging." Her eyes flashed with defiance, but it was hollow. "I'm not begging. I'm offering a deal. Unlock the system, and I'll give you your shares back. Co-founder status. Whatever you want." I laughed, the sound sharp in the quiet. "You think I want your scraps? I'm not here to save your empire, Sophia. I'm here to bury it." Her breath hitched, panic breaking through. "You're insane. You'll ruin yourself too. Your legacy." "My legacy?" I cut her off, stepping closer. "You stole it years ago. Every interview, every headline, every award. You made sure the world forgot me. But they're remembering now." She shook her head, desperation creeping into her voice. "Artem, please. I know I hurt you. I was wrong. But we can start over. I'll make it right." For a split second, I saw the woman I'd loved, the one who'd stayed up with me coding, who'd believed in my dreams. But it was a ghost. The real Sophia stood before me, the one who'd betrayed me without a second thought. I wasn't falling for it again. "You had your chance," I said, voice like stone. "Time's up." Her eyes widened, tears welling, but not falling. "You can't do this. It's my life." "Funny," I said, leaning in. "You didn't care when you took mine." She stared, speechless, as I shut the door in her face. The click echoed, final and absolute. I turned back to my laptop, the clock reading 12:01. Noon had passed. I opened the system and executed the final command. The core servers shut down, cutting off every remaining access point. Sophia's company was dead. My phone buzzed Roman. "She came to you, didn't she?" he said, voice tense. "What happened?" "She begged," I said, pacing. "Offer me everything." I said no. A pause, then a grin in his voice. "That's my guy. The team's ready. Lena's got half the engineers on board for Nova Spark. We're moving fast." "Good," I said, glancing at the code on my screen. "We launch in 2 weeks. No didas. You sure you're okay?" Roman asked, softer now. "This is heavy, man." I stopped pacing, the weight of the morning settling in. "I'm not okay," I admitted, "but I'm free." He didn't push, just said, "We've got your back. Let's build something better." I hung up, a flicker of warmth cutting through the ice in my chest. Lena's latest text popped up. Asterisk stocks down 40%. Sophia's out of moves. We're all in for an S. Asterisk, I smiled, the first real one in days. The old team, engineers Sophia had overlooked, developers I'd mentored, was rallying to me. They knew the truth, and they were ready to rewrite the story. The news alerts piled up. Tech giant in crisis. CEO Sophia Callaway faces collapse. The headlines were brutal, digging into her past, questioning her leadership. Whispers of my role were surfacing, former employees speaking out, old articles resurfacing. The world was starting to see what she'd hidden. I sat back, pulling up Nova Spark as framework. The code was clean, elegant, a phoenix rising from the wreckage. But doubt gnawed at me. Had I gone too far? Destroying her company meant torching part of my own history. I pushed it aside. This wasn't about regret. It was about reclaiming what was mine. Another text from Lena. Asterisk boards calling an emergency meeting. Sophia's done. Asterisk, I exhaled, the reality sinking in. She'd lost everything. Her title, her power, her myth. And I'd made it happen. The city outside buzzed, indifferent to the war I'd won. Nova Spark was my future now, a chance to build without her shadow. Sophia thought she'd broken me. She'd only made me stronger. The city skyline glittered beyond the glass walls of my new office, a sleek space that hummed with possibility. 2 weeks had passed since Sophia's empire collapsed, and the world had moved on. I stood at the edge of Nova Spark's launch, my creation ready to redefine the industry. The weight of betrayal still lingered, but it no longer defined me. I'd taken back my power, and today was proof. My phone buzzed with notifications, articles, messages, updates from the team. Nova Spark was trending. Artem Volkov, true genius behind fallen tech giant, unveils new AI platform. The headlines told a story Sophia could no longer control. Her name was fading, replaced by mine. The board had ousted her days after the servers went dark, and the media had pounced, unearthing her lies, her erasure of my contributions. She was a cautionary tale now, a fallen icon. I turned from the window, scanning the open plan office. Engineers typed furiously, screens glowing with Nova Spark's interface. Lena, my lead developer, caught my eye and grinned, giving a thumbs up. The team, loyal colleague Sophia had sidelined, was the heart of this. They'd join me not for money, but for truth, for a chance to build something real. Roman had been their bridge, rallying them when I was too consumed to reach out. My phone buzzed again. A text from Roman. Asterisk launch party tonight. You ready to own this? Asterisk, I smiled, typing back. Born ready. His support had been my anchor, a reminder that I wasn't alone. He'd push me to keep going, to turn pain into purpose. Without him, I might have faltered. The launch was hours away, but my mind drifted to Sophia. I hadn't heard from her since that final confrontation, when I'd shut the door on her pleas. Part of me wondered where she was, hiding from the headlines, scrambling to salvage her reputation. But I didn't dwell. She'd made her choices, and I'd made mine. A soft knock pulled me back. Lena stood at the door, holding a tablet. Artem, the demo's ready. Want to see it? I nodded, following her to a workstation. The screen displayed Nova Spark's interface, sleek, intuitive, light years ahead of our old system. Lena tapped a key, and the AI sprang to life, optimizing a mock supply chain in real time, adapting to variables faster than any competitor. The team gathered, murmurs of excitement rippling through. It's perfect, I said, voice steady but proud. You all made this happen. Lena grinned. You started it. We just followed. The moment felt like a reclaiming, not just of my work, but of myself. Sophia had tried to reduce me to a footnote, but here I was, surrounded by people who believed in me, building something she could never touch. My phone rang, an unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. Silence greeted me. Then a familiar voice, thin and strained. Artem. Sophia. My pulse quickened, but I kept my tone even. What do you want? A long pause. I saw the news. Asterisco, nova sparki asterisco. It's yours, isn't it? I didn't answer, letting her words hang. She continued, her voice cracking. I am sorry. For everything. I didn't realize what I was doing to you. Please, can we talk? I leaned against the desk, the team's chatter fading behind me. Her apology was real, raw, but it was too late. I saw her now, not as the partner I'd loved, but as the architect of her own downfall. She'd built her empire on my work, then burned the bridge between us. There's nothing to say, I said, calm but firm. You made your choices. I made mine. Artem, please, she whispered. I've lost everything. I closed my eyes, her words echoing the ones I'd thrown at her. You didn't care when you took mine, but I didn't say it. I didn't need to. Goodbye, Sophia, I said, and hung up. The finality settled over me, not heavy, but liberating. She was gone from my life, a chapter closed. I turned back to the team, their energy pulling me forward. Lena handed me a coffee, smirking, ready to change the world again. Damn right, I said, clinking my mug against hers. The launch party that night was electric. The venue pulsed with music, lights casting patterns across the crowd. Investors, tech journalists, my team. Roman raised a glass, his grin wide. To Artem, he shouted, the man who took back what was his. The room cheered, glasses clinking. I stood at the center, Nova Spark's logo glowing on a screen behind me. The platform had launched flawlessly, already drawing contract from companies that had fled Sophia's sinking ship. The world was watching, and this time they saw me. As the night wound down, I stepped onto the rooftop, the city sprawling below. The air was cool, the stars faint against the urban glow. Roman joined me, leaning on the railing. "You did it," he said. "She thought she'd break you. Look at you now." I exhaled, the weight of the past lifting. I didn't just survive her. I became better. He clapped my shoulder. "That's the art of my no." I looked out at the city, its lights a map of possibilities. Sophia had tried to erase me, but I'd rewritten the story. Nova Spark was my legacy, built on truth, not lies. I wasn't the man she betrayed anymore. I was the man who'd won.